Hi guys, how's it going? I had a bit of feedback from my last post at Noble Falls, the nighttime / astrophotography shot, asking, how was the photo taken, how did I edit it, questions like that. So I thought I'd do a little tutorial, a little behind the scenes video of how that photo was captured. I did take some footage while I was out there. It's not the best footage, it's at night time. But anyway, let's jump into it and I will take you through how I set up and took the photo, and then I'll jump into the editing. Cheers. Alright guys, so I've made it out to Noble Falls. It is nice and dark out here, but one problem, lots of street lights on the main highway, which is just behind me. You can see them there. So I'm not sure how well this is going to work for astrophotography, but we'll go give it a shot. It's just a short walk over to the falls, then I'll set up. I'll run you through the setup and I'll take a few shots. Okay, so here we are. You can probably just make out the falls out there in front. It is a nice little scene. Come down here in the daytime if you've never been down here, not far from the city. Now let's have a look at the camera setup. So what have we got? Got the Canon 16 Mark II set up, and with the Samyang 20mm 1.8 on an L bracket, basically pointing at the rising Milky Way. Not ideal to shoot this lens at f1.8, but I'm going to today just because first time using it. Let's see how good it is at its most wide aperture. Probably get a little sneak peek of the composition here. Test shot, a bit hard to make out probably, but with the rising Milky Way and a very yellow foreground. So my settings are f1.8, 13 seconds, ISO 3200, and I will take probably 10 exposures and stack them, and I'll run through that when I get back home. Cheers. Okay, so that's a little behind the scenes on how the shot was composed and equipment I used, and a little bit of insight about Noble Falls. Now let's jump into the editing. So first I jump into Lightroom. So now we're in Lightroom. Just want to quickly run over how I edited this photo. Firstly, I stacked the 10 light frames and 5 dark frames in Starry landscape stacker. I'm not going to run over how to do that. Plenty of YouTube tutorials. I will quickly show you the noise difference. So I've got the stacked photo on the left, the non-stacked photo on the right. Might be a bit hard to see, but a fair bit more detail for a blown out sky and less noise. So it's perfect. Then what I do is I select my noise reduced photo. Like a Starry landscape stacker also outputs just the sky. Select that, and then I took a separate foreground shot. Select that. Edit in layers in Photoshop. Okay, so once they are loaded into Photoshop, arrange the layers in the right order. So I want my sky layer on top. Basically I just use that to make a quick selection, turn it off. Get my foreground layer, mask that. Let's invert that. So we are only left with the foreground, which I want, which is the reduced ISO foreground. We can now discard the sky mask. And basically what I did here is play with some Photoshop brushes. So we'll quickly run over those very quickly. These are brushes from Visuals of Jules. It's got a moon brush, which is kind of cool. I'll simulate what I did in my final photo, but it won't be exactly the same. So we chuck the moon in. Yep, and then make another new layer. Choose some more brushes. He's got some nice fog brushes. You can probably use brushes from anyone. Make your own if you're really keen. Just play around with the sizing. You know, they need to be pretty big. It's a big photo. You can turn the opacity down, flow down, crank the size up some more. You know, build up this fog. You don't want to go too hard, too fast. Let's make it a bit darker. And you can start seeing it being developed here. And the brush randomizes every time you click, so you don't get any of the same fog pattern. You know, it's just, as I said, a quick edit. It's not going to be exactly like the one I posted on Instagram. Okay, so yeah, you get all your fog out there, you know, rough and dirty. Then we're to play with the light, create a new adjustment layer. You want curves, crank down on the darkness, up on the lightness. Let's make it a bit grey. Alright, and then now also a new adjustment layer and exposure. Darken it quite a bit. And then paint in, just with the normal soft brush, soft round brush, on the mask layer. Increase the opacity to 50%. Flow can be 100. You know, paint in your light, you get the picture. I also use a few other adjustment layers. I like the color lookup. I play around with these until I find a look I like, but as I recall, I used drop blues, which gets rid of some of that oversaturated blue, change it about there, you know, and that's it. We're pretty much done. It's that easy. Okay, so that's the photo edited. Learnings from that, well, probably don't take a Milky Way photo in a full moon. You couldn't really see any of the Milky Way, so went a different direction with the edit, made it more moody. Obviously used my creativity, a few creative liberties, whatever you'd say. You know, added a artificial moon, artificial fog. But anyway, gotta do whatever you gotta do to get an interesting photo. Sometimes I do just like taking a photo out of camera, you know, a little bit of editing, and then sometimes I go heavy on the edits. You know, gotta do whatever makes you happy and, you know, keep creative. Thanks, guys.